So now I'm going to switch gears and talk a little bit about creek health. So each spring we conduct a type of monitoring called bioassessment, and that's where we go to local creeks and collect bug larvae. And the types of bugs you find tell you something about the water quality in that creek. So some bugs are very sensitive to pollution. So if you find those, then you know that the water quality is likely good. And then other bugs can live in the worst conditions, it doesn't bother them. And so if that's all you find in your sample, then it's likely the water conditions are poor. And the reason we care so much about bugs is that if it's healthy bug habitat, that also means it's healthy fish habitat. And we're very interested in protecting and restoring steelhead, trout. So our staff and volunteers head out to the creeks. Here they're collecting habitat data. So they're taking measurements like the depth of water, they're looking at what the bottom of the creek is like, and they're looking to see how much tree canopy is growing over the creek. This is collecting a bug sample. So we put a net in the creek and then we stir up the sediment and we scrub the rocks to slough off the bug larvae, and they float into the net. And then we scoop those into a jar and add preservative and we send them to a lab. And then they're the taxonomists sort through them and they count and identify everything and they send us a lab report. And so this is a photo of a stonefly from one of our creeks. So this map shows the bug scores, the average bug scores with the data, some of it going back to the mid-1990s. So on the Chorro Creek side, Upper Chorro and Lower Chorro have scores of fair. And then these creeks that drain to Chorro Creek, we call them tributaries, all have scores of good or fair. So what stands out on this side of the watershed is Middle Chorro has a score of poor. So there are a couple of factors there. One is that there's a wastewater treatment plant that's putting its treated effluent into the creek. The effluent is probably a little bit warmer and the nutrients are a little bit higher than what the most sensitive bugs like. And then the other issue is that the gradient through this portion of the creek is fairly flat. So that means as the water passes through, it slows down, sediment tends to drop out, and then that kind of silts up the bottom, and the most sensitive bugs don't really like that. On the Los Osos side, Upper Los Osos Creek has great habitat and bug scores. This is the point of Los Osos Valley Road, so downstream from there, and then on Warden Creek, the bug scores are unknown. We don't have access there, and so we've never done any bug surveys. But based on what we know of the water quality, it's likely that the bug scores in those areas are not great.